Welcome to Activations with JJ, May 2023 Monthly Energy Update. In this episode, our themes will be making sure not to neglect our 3D life, looking up into the sky, releasing the need to analyze everything with our mind, and then an invitation to look at things from a more multi-dimensional perspective. At the very tail end of this episode, I will also be bringing through a special channeled message and light language activation from beings who have called themselves our Syrian Ascension guides. I'm excited to see what this episode brings, so let's get started. Hello, my dear friends. I'm getting this one recorded with a big smile on my face because I just want to tell you, you made it. You made it through the crazy month of April, all of those eclipse energies. I know so many of you were on emotional roller coasters. And I want to remind you, one of the reasons that things are becoming more intense for you is because you are becoming more aware. So congratulations for not being numb anymore, like some people are. You are waking up, and when we wake up, we are a little bit more, again, aware of feelings, sensations, energies, and I know that was the case during April. But we are headed into May now, and I'm really excited for what is to come. There were some interesting energetic themes that dropped in. Before I mention them, I want to remind you that it is my goal to help you become as empowered and sovereign as you possibly can be. So even though you will be listening to my particular themes that dropped in for me, some may resonate with you. You also might want to go to your guides and tap into your own intuition and take some time and journal. What are your themes for May 2023? What is on the forefront for you? How can you focus on what is most in alignment for you to help you shift into your next highest timeline? So I just want to remind you of that. It's a super important part of your ascension journey to be self-sufficient and sovereign and ask for your own personal downloads. And they will come. They will come. Not always in the way we think they're going to come, but they will come. All right, let's get started with these topics. I'm really excited for this month, not only with these topics coming in, but in a little bit, I'm going to share with you some new things I have coming up, some new offerings. And those things are also very exciting to me because they all tie in together. The first topic, as I mentioned, as I prefaced the episode in the opening, I said was to focus on and not neglect your 3D life. That was kind of a little bit of a fuzzy way to say it, but it was the best way that I could explain it. And of course, I just have my notes here as I was quickly doing some automatic writing and channeling them through. But the idea was to stay grounded, to not ignore what's right in front of us in our physical world. Don't run away. Be aware and be present. The thing that I've been seeing over and over again, and if you didn't notice, this is a similar theme to last month. Sorry, but they really want to drive this one home, is that people will have a lot of passion for developing their spirituality, for, learning how to channel and opening their psychic abilities and connecting with their star families or going to the Akashic records. But then when it comes to taking care of their physical world, either their relationships, maybe their job or career, or however they're, bringing in income to support themselves, energy exchanges, their physical surroundings, where they live, a lot of times I'm noticing there's a little bit of an imbalance there. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I feel like what our guides are saying is maybe during the month of May, it might be time to just turn a little bit more of your attention into, the word that came to me was organize. Organize. And I have to tell you, that's one of my favorite words, to be completely honest with you. If I could do anything else in the world, it would be literally be a professional organizer. If you knew what I was like my whole life, I would be that family member who would go to like my parents' house or my grandma's house, and I'd be like, hey, can I organize your closets? Or I'd go to my family member's house, hey, can I organize your kitchen? Can I help you sort things? It's something I just love to do. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but those of you who like to organize, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, as I tapped in later in my life, I was like, oh my gosh, I was just helping people shift energy and I was activating. I mean, it's a theme. It's a theme that's come up my whole life in just different ways I activate, and that's my role. But, shifting things and moving things physically, organizing like actual objects, that could be one way for you to pay more attention to your physical world. The words that are dropping in right now is the phrase, you cannot have clarity in clutter. And I don't just mean physical clutter, even though they said 3D, but I also mean like energetic clutter. So let that soak in. That's something from our guides that just dropped in. You cannot have clarity in clutter. And clutter might have to do with relationships. If your relationships are fuzzy and you don't have clear boundaries. And this has to do with your integrity, like with other people in relationships, but also your personal integrity with yourself. Like, are you keeping promises to yourself? Like if you set a boundary for yourself and you cross that boundary, it's not necessarily affecting another person, but it's creating sort of an energetic chaos in your life. So take a quick inventory, or maybe don't take a quick inventory, take a long and lengthy and in-depth inventory of your energies. You could literally set aside a whole week and say, all right, Spirit, I'm going to journal every day this week, and I want to take an inventory of clutter or cobwebs in my physical and in my energetic, relationships, kind of is what I'm feeling, part of my life. So that's the tip. Maybe I'll do a future podcast about it this month or even an offering, but right now I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? So that's our first topic. The next one is funny because I wrote this one down and then I looked at the first one and I was like, these are completely opposite, you guys. So it's look up into the sky, look at the stars. That was it. I was like, oh, great. Stay grounded. Look at the sky. Stay grounded. Look at the sky. Like we're going to get whiplash here trying to look back and forth. This is going to make us confused. It reminded me of the eclipse message I sent out, and I actually created a reel, and I think it's literally up to this point my most viewed reel ever. I guess it resonated with a lot of people, but in that reel, the two things I say sound completely contradictory. I said set an intention, and then I said surrender. And some people called me out, and I mentioned this I think it was my very last podcast episode, so I'm just repeating what you guys already know, but they did it again. And it reminds me of a session I had with somebody. There are some people that I go so deep with. And in our session, Spirit brought through the word paradox. And I think it has to do with the energy of unity consciousness. In order to embrace unity consciousness, we have to be comfortable with paradox. Okay? That's just a side tangent. Now, let's go into this looking into the stars. All I got from my guides when they said that, because they weren't very elaborate with what they said to me, was just look at the stars. I could almost see all of you looking up at the sky, like, okay, JJ said go up and look at the sky. Now, some of you are probably already amazing stargazers and make time for all that. But for those of you who haven't lately, let's set the intention to do so. I could see you in this coming month looking up at the sky, and I could really see the way that the stars were transmitting information. So it was all energetic. I could just see your third eye was being activated as you looked at a certain constellation. So it's almost like just tuning in to that radio station, to that wavelength for a bit, and maybe not even trying to see UFOs, because I don't know if you're like me, but every time I go out there, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I'll see a UFO. Ooh, I wonder if I'll see a ship. And sometimes I have seen one in physical one time, maybe the other, and I've seen probably a few that I didn't realize that were, and then other times I've felt and sensed lots of that. I've talked about CE5 before here. If you're not sure what CE5 is or you've never heard of it, just look it up online. You'll see. It's a really cool organization. But look up into the sky. The funny thing about this topic is, guess what? For those of you who have really good memories, I talked about this one, I think in November. So they're like, yep, we're recycling a theme. Just deal with it. And I said, okay, fine. They're like, we still want you to do that. Don't stop. So that's theme number 2. Look up into the sky. Now I'm going to stop right here before we move into the third and fourth themes and the channeled message. to take a small commercial break because I'm really excited about an upcoming offering I have, and it's related to my efforts to help us feel more empowered and to help us sort of meet our guides halfway. And what I did was I've opened up a new gathering. So as you know, I do weekly gatherings. They're all virtual via Zoom, and people join us from all over the world. We connect with different beings. I channel light language and I channel messages. And this one is different because I am literally calling it a channeled Q&A. Now, I am by no means the only person doing these. Lots of other channelers do them. So I guess I'm joining them. I'm like joining that club of doing these channeled Q&As. But one of the reasons my guides were saying this is important is because it's a really great way to break out of sort of that just feed me and I'll eat whatever you have. It's like, I want you to tell me specific things. And so they're saying have people come, sign up for the gathering, bring questions, and then even ask, can you please channel, for instance, can you please channel Sanat Kumara? Can you please channel Yeshua? And I would like to ask him this question. And I'm feeling 100% fine to do that. And my guides were like, yep, you can do that. It's a really great way, especially for those of you who aren't super comfortable yet, like connecting with them by yourself. We're going to be in this safe space where I can bring it through, model it for you. And my goal for that is just to show you how simple it can be so that you can turn around and go on your own and start to bring through information from these same guides. One of the cool things about these gatherings is that I'm implementing something that I've done at several of my in-person offerings over the last few months. And when I do those workshops, I always do 3 or 4 public readings. And so I'll take like 7 to 10 minutes and I'll bring 3 or 4 different people up in front of me. And the whole group gets to watch me do a reading and bring through a channeled message and activation for that person live. So there are always going to be 3 spots at each of these monthly gatherings that you can sign up for to receive this personalized reading in front of the group. Now, I'm going to do a different theme each month, and our theme for May is starseed races or galactic family, that type of a theme. So we're going to be connecting with galactic energies. That actually goes a lot along with my last Ascension School episode where I quoted the Lost Lands, and she talks all about galactic consciousness. She describes a few particular groups of interdimensionals. And so that's my goal, again, is to bring through this all in this channeled Q&A. This will take place again on Saturday, May 13th at 8 a.m. Pacific. If you're interested in joining us, all of the information is down below in the description of the podcast. All right, we're going to go ahead and move forward. Our commercial break is now over. Thank you very much. Our topic number 3 for the month of May is it came through the idea of releasing the need to analyze with the mind or to pick something apart or to need to lean into logic. Over the last little while, in all these different group sessions that I've been doing, I just finished my multidimensional soul integration group. I'm doing my psychic activation workshop. I have a few other groups that I'm doing. And what I'm tuning into telepathically as I'm bringing through information that might be stretching it a bit for people is I'm feeling their brain, their mind is creating like a barrier that is very difficult for the energy to get through because it's kind of causing like a bottleneck in the mind. And so Spirit keeps telling me right in the middle of these sessions, just stop. Tell everybody to start receiving through their heart instead of through their mind. I honestly feel like we are retraining ourselves from the way we were taught to learn, if that makes sense. So of course, in school, everything goes through the mind, everything goes through the brain. We're taught to, go that way instead of run it by our heart and our intuition. So this is something I feel like I'm kind of preaching to the choir about because most of you by now, if you're listening to me, have probably figured out what I just said and have really done well with receiving through the heart. So I just want you to take it the next step. Is there anything in your life that you feel like you're probably approaching with more of an analytical, logical mind sort of technique that you could maybe incorporate a little bit more heart-centered receiving with? Is there anything at all? I just want you to take a moment and think about that. Let that drop in. And honestly, it might not even have anything to do with woo-woo stuff. It might just be your regular life where we get stuck in these ruts, right? And it's part of neuroscience. Like, you create these neural pathways and you are used to thinking the same way and using the same parts of your brain to address certain issues. So maybe it's with a relationship with a partner. Maybe you need to get out of your head and into your heart, right? Getting out of your head and into your heart. And I guess if I were to say that's the motto that they just dropped in, get out of your head and into your heart, which is by no means anything novel. That is something lots of people have said. But guess what? Our guides want us to know that too and want us to emphasize that for the month of May as well. So there's your reminder. Okay, we're going to move on to the very final topic before we head into our channeled message with Syrian Ascension guides. And the last one is really easy, really simple. I'm not going to make it complicated. And basically what my guide said was to look at things from a multi-dimensional perspective. And what I saw was literally like how little kids will just all of a sudden bend over and look at things like upside down. Or they look at things and they want to just see, well, how does it work? Or where does it go? And I just saw all of us are stuck. Again, this is kind of the same as the last topic, stuck in these certain ways of looking at things. And Spirit said, literally, like, flip it on its head. Look at it from a completely different perspective. And what just popped into my mind is the fact that on the 30th of April, I finished my second psychic activation workshop. This was a 2-part series. We did one on April 23rd and one on April 30th. And as I complete that, it just made me realize that a lot of us are accessing our psychic senses without realizing it, because we have this thought in our mind of what seeing with our third eye is, and it's not that. And we're actually using our third eye when we don't know we are, because we're so used to going about it from one single perspective. We have only room for one interpretation of what seeing with our third eye could feel like or look like, and that's it. And I actually had an experience this week in a session, and my guide said, you need to share with people what happened in that session so they can understand that the way you use your intuition and see with your third eye is not what people probably think it is. Because for me, I take it for granted. I've developed my own style of doing it, but it's really hard to describe with words. But the Spirit dropped in this whole analogy of how I'm going to do it. So I did actually tell a story in my psychic activation workshop, and guess what? The playbacks are now available as a course on my website. You can find the links below if you'd like to take that course. It's on demand. You literally don't have to be there live, and it's all virtual. It's all pre-recorded. It's a great, great workshop where we literally had fun. It was like, our guides were like, you can't activate your psychic senses unless you're going to have fun. So that's what we did. It was really amazing. All right, it's time for my favorite part of the monthly energy updates and anything I do where I get to channel a special guest or a collective. This time, my guides dropped in and said, we will be offering you connection with the Syrian Ascension guides. And as I asked them more, that was the most specific way they could define who they were. So for those of you who are Syrian starseeds, this might resonate a lot with you. I'm going to start off with this music, just letting yourself get relaxed. Connecting with your breath and dropping in, preparing yourself to receive this message. Dear ones, we come to you through this channel, through the vocal wavelengths our energy flows into your heart space and into your high heart. We are, as you might say, Syrian Ascension guides. And for those of you who are curious as to our physical appearance, you may visualize our physical vessel similar to that of what you call a dolphin. However, unlike the dolphins on your planet, we come in a multitude of colors, even the colors of the rainbow. And you may feel our energy surround you in the rainbow ray of ascension. As you may note, we come to you with great joy, great hope, and great love. We appreciate that this channel is able to translate our vibration into your language so that you may better understand with your logical and conscious mind the ways that we can assist you. We also appreciate that she is able to bring through some of what you call light language to transmit information to your subconscious and energetic body within this message. We know, dear ones, that you can feel the excitement bubbling up inside of you, almost as if you were bursting with joy, yet many of you do not understand why. We have come to help set you free. For there are many of you who have self-imposed shackles. These have been created by your subconscious mind. But as you begin to notice the ways that your energy feels a little bit bound, it takes just a thought to begin to release that which binds you. You have the power to set yourself free. We are here to simply provide for you that knowledge, to confirm that you are sovereign beings, that you are the master of your own ascension journey. There is no one or no thing outside of you that can determine the speed at which you ascend, the rate at which you ascend, the ways in which you ascend. This is all up to you. And if you would like a little advice, we would be happy to share with you the fact that this journey is much more fun as you incorporate your inner child, as you allow yourself to take off the glasses and the lenses of black and white and see the multicolored world around you and see the beauty in every part of this existence. For we know that some of you are connected to programming that tells you that you are in the midst of a long and arduous journey, which could take years, even decades, to get through. But to put it bluntly, You are an ascended being. You are in ascension. You already have access to the vibration that you would like to be. For you are multidimensional. You are straddling many different vibrations all at the same time, and it is simply up to you to decide which one to bring your awareness to in whichever moment it might be. And so rather than ask, oh, am I at 5D yet? Have I arrived? You simply think, yes, I already live in the 5D, and I live in the 3D, and I live in the 4D. I also live in the 9D, and the 7D, and the 8D. I live in all the densities and all the dimensions because I am a multidimensional being. Now it is up to me to decide which one to play in today. Do I play in the dimension of the elementals? Do I play in the dimension of the galactics or the angelics? Or do I play with these very interesting humans? They are fascinating, aren't they? Take a deep breath, dear ones, and just sit with this message. For not only do you hear the words, but you feel the energy buzzing inside of you, which you have brought through this rainbow ray. As you take deep breaths and receive this final light language transmission, we remind you that you are here to have joy. You are here to have laughter. You are here to live in bliss. And so it is. We are your Syrian Ascension guides, always at your service, with the deepest honor and respect for you, dear one, and your path. This is JJ, back to close out this episode. I want to invite you to just take a nice deep inhale and a long, slow exhale. What an energizing message. Thank you, my friends, for being willing to receive. I am so grateful for you. As we release that message and that energy for a moment, come back to our bodies, I just want to drop in with a few final messages. And even after channeling that, I almost have a permagrin on my face. That was such a fun energy to channel. Oh. And speaking of channeling, I have one last pretty unique offering coming up in May. I have decided to create 2 different containers for intermediate to advanced channelers. And so essentially what we're going to do is co-create in containers of 8. That is the number my guides gave me. We will be coming together to channel different energies as well as do grid work each of the weeks. And these are 4 weekly gatherings. Each week will have a different theme. So we will be connecting and learning how to connect and channel different energies like elementals, galactics, ascended masters, and so forth. More information about that can be found below. I am so passionate about helping you expand and learn more and become empowered. And this offering felt really in alignment with that goal. So again, if you are an intermediate to advanced light worker and channeler, you can apply for those circles by clicking on the link below. In addition to that, there is one more brand new offering that I have had a lot of requests for, but haven't done up until this point. I know that many of you will be happy to hear that I have finally created an all-access pass for my weekly virtual gatherings. If you decide to sign up for this all-access pass, it's kind of like a membership. You will have not only the links to every single regular gathering that I'm doing that month, but you will also receive all of the playbacks, whether or not you can attend them live. You can put this on literally an auto pay every month, so it's kind of a no-brainer for you. And then you'll have access to my calendar. And if you are getting a draw to come to something with JJ, you just click on that and you're like, I'm already signed up, I'm already good to go. And you can jump into any of my gatherings last minute, whenever you would like to. Again, that is my all access pass, and you can find out more and sign up for that through the link below in the description to the podcast episode. All right, this has been a very full monthly energy update, but because this is something I only do once a month, I feel like it was, worth making it really expansive. That was my goal. Thank you so much for co-creating with me today through all of the messages, through all of the themes for May, and also through that beautiful transmission from our Dolphin Syrian Ascension guides. My friends, I would not be here without you. I am so grateful for this community. I am sending you so much love and reminding you that I am you and you are me and we are we. Here's to a beautiful and expansive month of May. Until next time.